The silver ship moved slowly through Earth's sky like a floating metal mountain. Inside the ship, Ambassador Zixtera felt her crystal body shake with worry. She had read all the reports about this strange world called Earth. The planet was covered in water and had dangerous weather. Worse than that, it was home to creatures that could kill without thinking twice. "Are you ready for this meeting?" asked Commander Velanash. His thick armor made clicking sounds when he moved. The Corvani warrior had fought in many battles, but even he seemed nervous about meeting these humans. Zixtera looked at the other aliens in the room. There was Morpheus, who could change his shape to look like anything. Next to him stood Dr. Clix, a small green being with 4 arms and 6 eyes. They were all part of the Galactic Federation's first contact team. "The humans have built a special place for our meeting," Dr. Clix said while checking his tablet. "They call it the Contact Facility. It is in a place called Colorado. I hope they have removed all the dangerous animals from the area," Zixtera said. Her crystal form flashed different colors when she was worried. Down on Earth, Dr. Amanda Clark was getting ready for the most important day of her life. She stood in front of a mirror in her small office at the Contact Facility. Her brown hair was pulled back in a neat style. She wore her best blue dress and comfortable shoes. "Today we make history," she said to herself while looking at her reflection. Amanda was a xenobiologist, which meant she studied life from other planets. She had spent years learning about different alien species. She knew that first meetings were very important. One wrong word could ruin everything. Her phone rang, and she answered it quickly. "Amanda, this is Captain Jake Morrison. The alien ship will land in 30 minutes. Are you ready?" "Yes, I'm ready," Amanda said. "Is everything set up in the main meeting room?" "Everything looks perfect. The room is clean and bright. We have water and food ready for our guests. The translation computers are working well." Amanda walked down the long white hallway toward the main meeting room. The contact facility was new, and everything still smelled like fresh paint. Large windows showed the beautiful Colorado mountains in the distance. She stopped at her office. Dorn smiled. Inside, her German shepherd named Buddy was sleeping on his favorite blue blanket. Buddy was huge, even for his breed. His black and brown fur was thick and shiny. When he stood up, he was almost as tall as Amanda's waist. "Come, Envoy," Amanda said softly. "Today is a big day, and I need my emotional support animal with me." Buddy opened his brown eyes, and his tail started wagging immediately. He jumped up and followed Amanda down the hallway. His nails clicked on the smooth floor with each step. The main meeting room was large and circular. One wall was made entirely of glass so everyone could see the mountains. Round tables were arranged in the center with comfortable chairs. Everything was designed to make visitors feel welcome. Captain Jake Morrison was already waiting in the room. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He wore his dress uniform with many medals on his chest. Jake had served in the military for 20 years before joining the contact program. "The alien ship is landing now," Jake said while looking out the big windows. Amanda and Jake watched as the silver ship touched down gently in the field behind the building. Steam came from under the ship as it settled on the ground. Then a door opened and a ramp came down. The first alien to appear was Zixtera. She looked like she was made of living crystal. Her body sparkled in the sunlight as she walked down the ramp. Behind her came Commander Velanash in his thick black armor. Then Dr. Clix appeared, followed by the shapeshifter Morpheus, who had chosen to look like a tall human with blue skin. Amanda felt her heart beat faster as the aliens walked toward the building. This was really happening. Humans were about to meet creatures from other worlds for the first time. The aliens entered the meeting room carefully. They looked around at everything with curious eyes. Zixtera's crystal body made soft musical sounds as she moved. "Welcome to Earth," Amanda said with a big smile. "I am Dr. Amanda Clark, and this is Captain Jake Morrison. We are very happy to meet you. Thank you, Zixera replied. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. I am Ambassador Zixera, Veltar people. These are my colleagues from the Galactic Federation. Everyone moved toward the tables to begin their meeting. Amanda felt proud that everything was going so well. The translation computers worked perfectly, and all the aliens seemed friendly. That was when Buddy decided to join the party. The big German shepherd had been waiting patiently by the door, but when he saw all the new people in the room, his excitement took over. He ran into the room with his tail wagging so hard that his whole body wiggled. Buddy, come here, boy, Amanda called out, but she was still smiling. The reaction from the aliens was immediate and terrible. Zixera let out a sound like breaking glass. Her crystal body started to crack with fear. Commander Velanash jumped backward and reached for his weapon. Dr. Klix screamed and climbed onto a chair with all 4 arms waving in panic. Terran Alpha, Predator shouted Velanash. How did he get in here? Buddy, who had no idea he was scaring anyone, ran straight toward the aliens. His tongue hung out of his mouth and his tail never stopped moving. He just wanted to meet the new friends and maybe get some pets. Pack Hunter, cried Dr. Klix from his chair, bone-crushing jaws, relentless pursuit capabilities. Amanda stared at the aliens in confusion. What are you talking about? This is just Buddy. He's my dog. But the aliens were not listening. Morpheus quickly changed his shape into something that looked like a metal ball. Zixera was backing toward the door, while her crystal body continued to crack. Commander Velanash had his weapon ready, but seemed afraid to use it. Buddy finally reached the group and did what he always did when meeting new people. He sat down and offered his paw to Zixera for a handshake. Good boy, Amanda said proudly. Show them your best trick. Buddy immediately rolled over onto his back and showed his belly. His legs kicked in the air and his tail wagged against the floor. He made happy panting sounds while waiting for belly rubs. This was too much for the aliens. Zixera's crystal form cracked even more. It's showing us its vulnerable areas. This is psychological warfare. The creature is demonstrating its confidence in victory, added Velanash. Within minutes, 3 of the 4 alien species had run from the room. Only Morpheus remained, still in his metal ball shape, rolling slowly toward the exit. Amanda stood alone with Jake and Buddy in the empty meeting room. The first contact between humans and aliens had lasted exactly 12 minutes. Buddy rolled back onto his stomach and looked up at Amanda with confused eyes. He tilted his head to one side, as if asking why all the new friends had left so quickly. Well, said Jake, while scratching his head, that didn't go exactly as planned. Back on the alien ship, Security Chief Korthak was having the worst day of his career. The large insectoid warrior sat in his command chair while his 6 arms worked at different computer screens. His thick shell armor made scraping sounds every time he moved. Computer, bring up all files about Earth creatures, he said in his deep voice. The main screen filled with information about Earth's animals. Korthak's compound eyes grew wider as he read each entry. Every single creature seemed designed to kill something. Look at this, he said to the other aliens who had gathered around him. The creature we just encountered is called a German shepherd. It says here they were bred for herding and protection. They can run 30 miles per hour and have a bite force of 238 pounds per square inch. Ambassador Zixera's crystal body was still cracked from their encounter. She made worried chiming sounds as she read the screen. That's just one creature. What about the others? Dr. Klix used his forearms to type quickly on his tablet. I'm cross-referencing with our threat database. Computer, show me other Earth predators that humans keep as companions. The screen changed to show dozens of different animals. There were big cats with sharp teeth, large snakes that could crush bones, and birds with razor-sharp claws. Each entry made the aliens more frightened. Here, said Dr. Klix, pointing with 2 of his arms. This creature called a python can grow to 20 feet long. It crushes prey by wrapping around them and squeezing until they cannot breathe. And look at this note. Humans often keep them in their homes. Commander Velanash studied the information with his soldier's eye. This cannot be right. No civilized species would live with such dangerous creatures. Unless what? Asked Z. Unless they are the most dangerous predators of all, Velanash said quietly. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Amanda Clark was trying to understand what had gone wrong. She sat in her office with Buddy sleeping at her feet. The big dog seemed tired. After all the excitement, Amanda picked up her phone and called her friend Dr. Ben Parker. Ben was also a scientist, but he worked from his home in California. Maybe he could help her figure out why the aliens had been so scared. Ben, I need your help, Amanda said when he answered the phone. The first contact meeting was a disaster. What happened? Ben asked. He sounded concerned. The aliens took one look at Buddy and ran away screaming. They called him a predator and acted like he was going to eat them. On the other end of the phone, Ben laughed. Buddy, that big friendly teddy bear, he's afraid of cats. I know, right? But they seemed really scared. Can we video call? I want to show you something from their database. Ben agreed, and soon Amanda could see him on her computer screen. Ben was in his home office, which was bright and cheerful. Behind him, Amanda could see family photos and children's drawings on the walls. Let me show you what their computer said about dogs, Amanda said. She shared her screen so Ben could see the alien database entry. As Ben read the information, his expression changed. Oh wow, they're not wrong about the facts. German shepherds really are strong and fast, but they're missing all the important parts. What do you mean? They don't understand that dogs chose to live with us. They don't know about thousands of years of friendship and trust. To them, Buddy just looks like a wolf that lives in your house. Just then, a small voice called out from somewhere in Ben's house. Daddy, can you help me with Noodles? That's my daughter Lucy, Ben explained to Amanda. She's 5. Lucy, bring Noodles here. I want to show Dr. Clark. A few minutes later, a little girl with blonde hair and a bright pink dress appeared on the video call. Around her shoulders, like a living scarf, was wrapped a large Burmese python. The snake was brown and gold with beautiful patterns on its skin. Hi, Dr. Clark, Lucy said cheerfully. This is Noodles. She's my best friend. Amanda watched as Lucy gently petted the python's head. The snake seemed completely relaxed and content. Its tongue flicked out occasionally to taste the air. Noodles likes to watch cartoons with me, Lucy continued. Sometimes she falls asleep, and I have to be very quiet so I don't wake her up. What Amanda didn't know was that the aliens were still monitoring human communications. Up on their ship, the entire command crew was watching this video call. Dr. Clicks nearly fell off his chair when he saw the python. Compression predator. Class 7 threat level. The small human appears to be unaware of the danger, observed Morpheus, who had changed back to his humanoid form. Korthok quickly looked up pythons in the database. Burmese pythons can grow to 18 feet long and weigh over 200 pounds. They kill by constriction, slowly crushing their prey until the heart stops beating. And yet, said Zixthera, her voice shaking with confusion, the young human treats it like a toy. On the video call, Lucy was now holding the python up to the camera. Noodles wants to say hi to you, Dr. Clark. See how pretty her eyes are. Ben smiled at his daughter. Lucy, why don't you go put Noodles back in her terrarium? It's almost time for your lunch. Okay, Daddy, Lucy said. She carefully lifted the large snake and carried it away like it weighed nothing. Amanda and Ben continued their conversation, but they had no idea that aliens were listening to every word. The humans show no fear, whispered Commander Velanash to his crew. This confirms my theory. They are apex predators themselves. Dr. Clicks was typing furiously on his tablet. I'm looking up more human-animal relationships. Computer, show me what other dangerous creatures humans keep as pets. The screen filled with new information. There were images of humans with large cats, deadly spiders, poisonous frogs, and aggressive birds. Each picture showed humans touching, holding, or playing with creatures that could seriously hurt them. Look at this one, said Clicks, pointing to a photo of a man holding a large iguana. These creatures have powerful tails that can break bones. They have sharp claws and strong jaws, and this human is letting it sit on his shoulder. Morpheus studied the images carefully. Perhaps this is how they maintain control. By demonstrating their dominance over lesser predators, they establish their position as the ultimate hunters. Sixtera's crystal body flashed with different colors as she processed this information. But what about the young one we saw? She was so small, yet she handled that serpent without fear. Human young are trained from birth, suggested Velanash. They learn to dominate dangerous creatures as part of their natural development. Back on Earth, Ben was trying to help Amanda understand the alien perspective. Think about it from their point of view, he said. They probably come from worlds where the most dangerous thing is like a rabbit. Then they come here and see us living with wolves and snakes. But dogs aren't wolves anymore, Amanda protested. And Noodles is the gentlest snake I've ever met. We know that because we understand the relationship. But to them, we just look like we're keeping monsters as roommates. Amanda sighed and looked down at Buddy, who was still sleeping peacefully. His legs twitched slightly as he dreamed, probably about chasing tennis balls in the park. So what do we do now? She asked Ben. We try again. But this time, maybe don't bring Buddy to the meeting. Up on the alien ship, the crew was reaching very different conclusions. They had spent hours reviewing Earth's creatures and human behavior. Every piece of evidence seemed to support the same terrifying theory. Report to the Galactic Federation Council, ordered Velanash. Tell them we have encountered a species that keeps apex predators as casual companions. Recommend immediate defensive protocols. Dr. Clicks began typing his report. Should I mention that their young are trained to handle Class 7 threats? Include everything, said Sixtera. The Council needs to know what we're dealing with. As the aliens prepared their warning message to the galaxy, they watched more human videos. They saw people swimming with sharks, playing with bears, and riding on the backs of enormous horses. Each video convinced them more that humans were the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. None of them understood that what they were seeing wasn't domination or control. It was love, trust, and thousands of years of friendship between species. They couldn't imagine that the fearsome creatures in their database had chosen to live with humans not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. The misunderstanding was growing bigger with every passing hour, and soon the entire galaxy would know about the humans who kept monsters as pets. 3 days after the failed first contact, Morpheus made a decision that would change everything. The shape-shifting alien sat alone in his quarters aboard the Federation ship, staring at images of human settlements on his screen. I need to see this for myself, he said quietly. Morpheus had the unique ability among his team to blend in with other species. While his colleagues argued about military responses and threat levels, he wanted to understand humans better. The images he saw didn't match the behavior they had witnessed. He changed his form to look like a tall human male with brown hair and ordinary clothes. The transformation was perfect, down to the smallest details. Even other humans would not be able to tell he was alien. That evening, Morpheus used a small shuttle to land near a human town called Riverside. It was a typical American suburb, with tree-lined streets, neat houses, and friendly people. His translator had identified several locations where humans gathered with their dangerous creatures. The most promising target was something called Pete's Pet Paradise. According to his research, this was a creature distribution center where humans went to acquire new animal companions. Morpheus could not understand why any species would have stores specifically for buying predators, but he had to see it with his own eyes. The next morning, Morpheus walked through the front door of the pet store. Immediately, he was hit with a mixture of sounds and smells that his alien senses found overwhelming. There were chirping noises, scratching sounds, and scents from dozens of different species. Behind the front counter stood Lisa Wong, the store's owner. She was a cheerful woman in her 30s, with short black hair and kind eyes. She wore a bright green shirt that said, "Ask me about our reptiles." Lisa looked up from her paperwork and smiled at the tall stranger. "Good morning. Welcome to Pete's Pet Paradise. Are you looking for anything special today?" Morpheus tried to act casual while his eyes scanned the store in shock. Along the walls were glass containers holding what his database identified as various deadly creatures. There were snakes coiled peacefully in their enclosures, lizards basking under heat lamps, and spiders sitting motionless in their webs. "I am researching," Morpheus said carefully. "I want to understand how humans choose their animal companions." "Oh, that's wonderful." Lisa's face lit up with enthusiasm. "I love helping people find the perfect pet. What kind of lifestyle do you have? Are you looking for something low maintenance, or do you want a more interactive companion?" Before Morpheus could answer, Lisa walked over to a large glass tank containing what appeared to be a small dragon. The creature was about 2 feet long, with scaly skin and a row of spikes along its back. Morpheus's internal database immediately identified it as a bearded dragon. But the sight still made his alien instincts scream danger. "This is Spike," Lisa said, while opening the tank. "He's one of our bearded dragons, and he's absolutely adorable." Without any hesitation, Lisa reached into the tank and gently picked up the lizard. Spike climbed onto her arm and settled there comfortably, his little claws gripping her skin lightly. "See how calm he is. Bearded dragons make excellent pets, because they're so friendly and easy to handle." Morpheus watched in amazement as Lisa stroked the creature's head with one finger. According to his database, bearded dragons were territorial predators with powerful jaws and sharp claws. Yet this one seemed completely relaxed, even closing its eyes as Lisa petted it. "Would you like to hold him?" Lisa asked. "No, thank you," Morpheus replied quickly. "I am still learning." Lisa put Spike back in his tank and moved on to show Morpheus other areas of the store. She walked over to several large containers filled with what looked like miniature serpents of various colors. "These are ball pythons," she explained while picking up a snake with beautiful brown and gold patterns. "They're called ball pythons because they curl up into a ball when they're scared. But this little guy isn't scared at all. Are you, sweetie?" The snake wrapped gently around Lisa's arm and seemed to enjoy the warmth of her body. Morpheus's translator identified dozens of species in the store, each one cataloged in his database as a dangerous predator. The front door chimed as new customers entered the store. Morpheus turned to see a human family, 2 adults and twin boys who looked about 8 years old. The parents were Chris and Maria Santos, and their sons were named Danny and Tony. "Hi, Lisa," called out Maria. "We're ready to pick out our family pet." "Perfect timing," Lisa replied. "I have some wonderful animals that would be great for families with children." Morpheus positioned himself where he could observe everything. He expected to witness some kind of gladiatorial selection process, where the humans would test their dominance over various creatures. Instead, he watched the most confusing scene of his long life. Lisa brought out a small white rabbit and placed it on a low table. The twin boys immediately gathered around it, with expressions of pure joy on their faces. "He's so soft," exclaimed Danny, while gently petting the rabbit's fur. "Look at his little pink nose," added Tony. "Can we keep him, Mom?" The rabbit sat calmly, while both children took turns stroking its back. According to Morpheus's database, rabbits were prey animals with powerful hind legs capable of delivering bone-breaking kicks. Yet these young humans treated it like a living toy. Let me show you some other options too, Lisa said. She brought out a cage containing 2 small hamsters. The tiny creatures ran on exercise wheels and stuffed food into their cheek pouches. Both children pressed their faces against the cage to get a better look. The hamsters came right up to the wire mesh, showing no fear of the giant faces staring at them. They're so cute, said Danny. I want to hold one, said Tony. Lisa carefully took out one of the hamsters and placed it in Tony's cupped hands. The small creature sat perfectly still while the boy examined it with wonder. Morpheus could not believe what he was seeing. His database listed hamsters as having sharp teeth capable of delivering painful bites, yet this one seemed completely comfortable, being handled by a human child. The family continued looking at different animals for over an hour. They met guinea pigs that squeaked cheerfully, ferrets that played together like furry snakes, and tropical fish that swam in colorful patterns. Each interaction was gentle and filled with obvious affection from both humans and animals. Finally, Chris and Maria made their decision. We'll take the rabbit, Chris told Lisa. The boys really seemed to connect with him. As Lisa prepared the rabbit's new home and supplies, she explained how to properly care for their new pet. She talked about proper food, exercise, and the importance of gentle handling. Remember, boys, she said to the twins, animals have feelings, just like people do. You need to always be kind and gentle with your new friend. Just as the Santos family was finishing their purchase, another customer arrived that made Morpheus question everything he thought he knew about humans. An elderly woman named Mrs. Patterson entered the store with a walker. She moved slowly, but her eyes sparkled with energy. Behind her on a leash walked the largest dog Morpheus had ever seen. Lisa, dear, I need to pick up Thor's special food, Mrs. Patterson said. Thor was a Great Dane who stood almost as tall as the old woman's waist. His coat was black and white, and his head was enormous. To Morpheus's alien eyes, the creature looked like it could easily overpower any human. But as soon as Thor saw the children, his massive tail began wagging. He walked over to Danny and Tony with gentle, careful steps. The boys immediately began petting his huge head while he stood perfectly still. Thor loves children, Mrs. Patterson explained with a smile. He thinks he's a lapdog, but he's too big to fit in anyone's lap anymore. As if to prove her point, Thor tried to sit down next to the children, but he was so large that he accidentally knocked over a display of dog toys. Instead of being aggressive or territorial, the giant dog looked embarrassed and tried to help clean up by picking up toys in his mouth and bringing them to Lisa. Everyone in the store laughed at Thor's helpful attempts. The children hugged his neck while he drooled happily on their shirts. Mrs. Patterson scratched behind his ears with obvious love and affection. Morpheus watched this scene with growing confusion. Here was a creature that could easily harm any human in the store, yet it was beloved by everyone. The children showed no fear. The elderly woman trusted it completely, and even Lisa treated it like an old friend. How long have you had Thor? Lisa asked, while ringing up Mrs. Patterson's purchase. 6 years now, the old woman replied. He came to me as a puppy after my husband passed away. He's been my constant companion ever since. I don't know what I'd do without him. Thor seemed to understand that they were talking about him. He looked up at Mrs. Patterson with adoring eyes and leaned against her legs gently, careful not to knock her over. As Morpheus left the pet store that day, his mind was spinning with questions. Everything he had witnessed contradicted his species' understanding of predator-prey relationships. The humans didn't control these creatures through fear or dominance. Instead, there seemed to be genuine affection flowing both ways. He had seen children handle potentially dangerous animals with complete trust. He had watched elderly humans depend on massive predators for companionship. Most confusing of all, he had observed the animals themselves choosing to be gentle and protective rather than aggressive. Back on the ship, Morpheus filed his report with growing uncertainty. The humans do not dominate these creatures, he told his colleagues. There appears to be some form of mutual cooperation that I do not understand. But his fellow aliens were not ready to hear this. They had already decided that humans were dangerous, and Morpheus's observations only confirmed their fears. If humans could inspire loyalty in apex predators, what did that say about human power? The misunderstanding continued to grow, and soon the entire galaxy would be talking about the terrifying species that convinced monsters to love them. 2 weeks after the pet store incident, Dr. Amanda Clark was determined to fix the first contact disaster. She had spent sleepless nights reading about alien psychology and studying their cultural databases. There had to be a way to make them understand that humans and animals were friends, not enemies. Amanda sat in her office at the contact facility, surrounded by books and research papers. Buddy lay on his favorite blanket nearby, occasionally opening one eye to check on his human. On her desk was a new plan, carefully written out with help from animal behaviorist Dr. Kevin Roberts. Kevin was a tall, thin man with gray hair and gentle hands that seemed to calm any creature he met. He had worked with animals for over 30 years and understood their behavior better than anyone Amanda knew. If anyone could explain the human-animal bond to confused aliens, it was Kevin. "Are you sure about this?" Kevin asked as he reviewed Amanda's proposal. "Bringing animals to a space station seems risky." "It's the only way," Amanda replied. "They need to see the relationship in a controlled environment. We'll bring therapy animals, ones specifically trained to be calm and gentle." Amanda had requested a second meeting with the aliens, this time on a neutral space station orbiting Earth. The Federation had agreed, probably because they were still trying to understand what they had witnessed. Ambassador Zixtera had specifically asked for a demonstration of human-animal cooperation protocols. 3 days later, Amanda and Kevin boarded a shuttle bound for Station Alpha, humanity's first space diplomatic post. With them traveled 3 very special animals, each chosen for their gentle nature and training. Max was a golden retriever therapy dog who worked at children's hospitals. His soft yellow fur and patient brown eyes had comforted thousands of sick children. He wore a blue vest that identified him as a working therapy animal. Princess was a white Persian cat with long fluffy fur and bright blue eyes. She lived in a nursing home where she provided companionship to elderly residents. Princess had never shown aggression toward any human in her 8 years of life. The third animal was Patches, a miniature horse, no bigger than a large dog. Patches had been trained as a guide animal for people who couldn't see well. His tiny hooves made soft clicking sounds as he walked, and his brown and white coat was always perfectly groomed. When their shuttle docked at Station Alpha, Amanda felt nervous butterflies in her stomach. This meeting was humanity's second chance to join the galactic community. She couldn't mess it up again. The station's meeting room was designed to accommodate different alien species. The gravity was set to Earth normal, but the air mixture could be adjusted for various breathing requirements. Large windows showed the blue and green Earth spinning slowly below. The alien delegation arrived exactly on time. Ambassador Zixthera's crystal body had been repaired since their last meeting, though Amanda noticed she still seemed nervous. Commander Velenash wore lighter armor this time, and Dr. Clicks carried multiple recording devices. Morpheus had chosen to look like a tall human with blue skin, perhaps trying to appear less threatening. "Thank you for agreeing to this second meeting," Amanda said formally. "I believe there was a misunderstanding during our first contact. Today, I hope to clarify the relationship between humans and our animal companions." Kevin stepped forward, leading Max on a loose leash. The golden retriever walked calmly beside him, his tail wagging gently. "This is Max," Kevin explained in a calm, professional voice. "He is what we call a therapy dog. His job is to provide comfort and emotional support to humans who are sad or scared." The aliens watched carefully as Kevin knelt down beside Max. The dog immediately sat and offered his paw for a handshake. Kevin took the paw gently and praised Max with kind words. You see, Kevin continued, Max chooses to work with humans. No one forces him to be gentle. He does it because thousands of years ago, his ancestors made a partnership with our ancestors. Dr. Clicks stepped closer. All 6 of his eyes focused on the dog. This creature's database entry lists it as a descendant of wolves. Wolves are pack hunters with powerful jaws. That's correct, Kevin agreed. But over many generations, humans and wolves learned to work together. The wolves helped us hunt, and we shared our food with them. Over time, some wolves began to change. They became friendlier, more gentle. We call this process domestication. Kevin signaled to Max, who immediately lay down and rolled over to show his belly. The dog's legs kicked playfully in the air, while his tongue hung out in a happy expression. A wild wolf would never show its vulnerable areas to strangers, Kevin explained. Max does this because he trusts us completely. He knows we won't hurt him. Zixtara's crystal body chimed with confusion. But why would you want creatures to trust you? Wouldn't fear be more effective for control? Kevin smiled gently. We don't want to control them. We want to be their friends. Amanda brought forward their second demonstration animal. Princess the Persian cat was riding comfortably in Kevin's arms, purring like a small motor. Her fluffy white fur made her look like a living cloud. This is Princess Amanda explained. Cats were never pack animals like dogs. They chose to live with humans for different reasons. Princess jumped gracefully from Kevin's arms onto the table. She walked slowly across the smooth surface, her tail held high with confidence. When she reached the middle of the table, she sat down and began grooming herself with delicate pink tongue licks. Cats are independent hunters, Kevin said. They didn't need us to survive, but they discovered that life was easier near human settlements. We had warm places to sleep, protection from larger predators, and plenty of mice to catch. Dr. Clicks consulted his tablet quickly. Cats are listed as efficient killers with retractable claws and night vision capabilities. All true, Amanda agreed. But look at Princess now. The cat had finished grooming and was now rubbing against Amanda's hand, purring loudly. Her eyes were half closed with contentment, and she seemed completely relaxed. Princess chooses to show affection, Amanda explained. She could easily scratch or bite, but instead, she purrs and seeks out human contact. This is her way of saying she feels safe and happy. Commander Velanash had been studying the interactions carefully. These behaviors suggest emotional attachment rather than dominance displays. Exactly, Kevin said with excitement. The relationship isn't about power. It's about mutual benefit and genuine caring. For their final demonstration, Kevin brought out Patches the miniature horse. The tiny equine walked confidently into the room, his hooves clicking on the metal floor. Despite being in an unfamiliar place surrounded by strange alien scents, Patches remained calm and alert. Horses are prey animals, Kevin explained. In the wild, their survival depends on running away from predators. But Patches has been trained to trust humans completely. Kevin walked over to a chair and sat down. Patches immediately walked over and stood beside him, allowing Kevin to pet his neck and mane. The little horse's ears moved forward in a relaxed position, showing he felt safe. Trust is the foundation of everything, Kevin said while stroking Patches' soft coat. These animals could run away or fight back at any time. They stay with us because they want to. Morpheus had been watching everything with growing understanding. The emotional bonds are real, he said quietly. This is not domination through fear. No, Amanda agreed. It's partnership through love. Kevin stood up and walked across the room. Patches followed him without being led, staying close to his human friend. When Kevin stopped, Patches stopped. When Kevin turned, Patches turned with him. Patches guides people who cannot see well, Kevin explained. His job is to keep humans safe from danger. He chooses to take care of us, just like we take care of him. Dr. Clicks was frantically taking notes on his tablet. This changes our entire understanding of human-animal relationships. The creatures are not enslaved. They are willing participants. The breakthrough moment came when Kevin's young assistant arrived. Emma Foster was a college student who had been delayed by shuttle problems. She was only 20 years old, with long brown hair and tired eyes from her journey. "Sorry I'm late, Dr. Roberts," Emma said as she entered the room. The shuttle had mechanical problems. Emma looked exhausted from her long trip. Without thinking about the aliens watching, she walked over to where Max was lying and sat down on the floor beside him. The big golden retriever immediately moved closer and rested his head in her lap. "I'm so tired," Emma said softly while petting Max's ears. "Thanks, buddy." Within minutes, Emma had closed her eyes and was using Max as a pillow. The big dog adjusted his position carefully to make sure she was comfortable. When Emma's breathing became deep and steady with sleep, Max remained perfectly still, even though his leg was falling asleep under her weight. The aliens watched this scene in complete silence. Here was a young human in a vulnerable state, trusting a powerful predator to protect her while she slept. Even more remarkable, the predator was willingly accepting this responsibility. "The creature is guarding her," whispered Zixthera. "More than that," said Morpheus. "He's making himself uncomfortable to ensure her comfort." Kevin nodded. Max understands that Emma needs rest. He won't move until she wakes up, even if it takes hours. This is what we call love. Ambassador Zixthera's crystal form began to glow with different colors as she processed this information. "On my world, we have small creatures that we care for, but they are harmless plant eaters. You have formed bonds with hunters and predators. We form bonds with any creature willing to be our friend," Amanda explained. "Size and strength don't matter. What matters is the connection between hearts." Dr. Clicks looked up from his tablet, with wonder in his 6 eyes. "This explains everything," we observed. The child with the serpent, the elderly human with the massive canine, the casual handling of dangerous creatures. They are not demonstrations of power. They are expressions of affection. Commander Velenash had put away his weapons and was studying Max and Emma with professional interest. The tactical implications are fascinating. These creatures fight alongside humans, not because they are forced to, but because they choose to protect what they love. "Exactly," Kevin said. "Loyalty given freely is stronger than obedience forced through fear." Princess the cat had wandered over to investigate the sleeping Emma. She sniffed delicately at the young woman's hair, then settled down next to Max, as if joining him in his protective watch. Patches. The miniature horse had found a comfortable spot near the window where he could see outside. His ears moved constantly, listening for any sounds that might indicate danger to his human friends. "They are all protecting her," observed Zixthera with amazement. "And she would protect them just as fiercely," Amanda replied. "That's what families do." Emma slept peacefully for an hour while the aliens learned about domestication, breeding, training, and most importantly, the emotional bonds that made it all possible. Kevin explained how humans had worked for thousands of years to develop relationships with different species. He told them about dogs who saved children from fires, cats who detected illness in their owners, horses who carried wounded soldiers to safety, and dolphins who guided lost ships to shore. Each story demonstrated the same theme: animals and humans choosing to help each other. When Emma finally woke up, she was embarrassed to find herself the center of attention. Max's tail wagged happily as she sat up and stretched. "Sorry, everyone," Emma said sleepily. "I guess I was more tired than I thought." "Max didn't mind," Kevin assured her. "He enjoyed taking care of you." Emma hugged the big dog around his neck and kissed the top of his head. "You're such a good boy, Max. Thank you for being my pillow." Max's tail wagged even harder and he licked Emma's face gently, making her laugh. The aliens watched this final interaction with complete understanding. They could see the genuine love between human and animal, the trust, the mutual care and protection. "We have made a terrible mistake," Zixtera announced to her delegation. "Humans are not apex predators who dominate other species. They are bridge builders who create families across species lines." Dr. Klix was already composing a new report. "We must inform the Federation immediately. This changes everything we thought we knew about Earth and its inhabitants." As the meeting ended, Amanda felt hopeful for the first time in weeks. The aliens finally understood that humans weren't dangerous monsters who kept predators as slaves. They were a species with an unusual gift for making friends with anyone willing to try. "Thank you for giving us this second chance," Amanda said to the alien delegation. "Thank you for showing us the truth," Zixtera replied. "The galaxy has much to learn from humanity's gift for friendship." As they prepared to leave, Max walked over to each alien and sat politely in front of them, offering his paw for a handshake. One by one, the aliens carefully shook hands with the friendly dog, finally understanding that he was offering friendship, not showing dominance. The revelation was complete, but the real adventure was just beginning. 6 months later, the first human embassy opened on Corvani Prime, the neutral world where different alien species conducted diplomatic business. The galaxy had spent those months trying to understand the strange reports about humans and their animal companions. Ambassador Helen Martinez stepped off the human transport ship, wearing a crisp blue uniform and a confident smile. Behind her walked what the alien press had learned to call her diplomatic support team. The galaxy's reporters gathered to witness this historic moment. Their cameras and recording devices focused on the humans and their unusual companions. Max, the golden retriever, wore a special vest labeled Morale Officer in multiple galactic languages. His job was to help stressed diplomats feel better during difficult negotiations. Captain Whiskers, a large Maine Coon cat with gray and white fur, had the title Stress Reduction Specialist. The cat rode on Helen's shoulder like a furry advisor, purring softly. Flying overhead were Bonnie and Clyde, two cockatiels whose bright yellow crests bobbed as they performed aerial loops around the embassy entrance. Their official designation was Atmospheric Enhancement Team, but everyone simply called them the Entertainment Committee. Helen had been chosen as Earth's first galactic ambassador because of her unique qualifications. She was a skilled diplomat who had also worked as a veterinarian. More importantly, she understood that Earth's acceptance into the galactic community would depend on other species learning to appreciate the human-animal bond. The Corvani Prime spaceport was busy with ships from dozens of different worlds. Alien citizens stopped to stare as the human delegation passed by. Some pointed at the animals with curiosity, while others maintained what they thought was a safe distance. Ambassador Zixtera met Helen at the embassy entrance. The crystal being's body chimed musical notes that the translators interpreted as a warm welcome. "Ambassador Martinez, welcome to Corvani Prime," Zixtera said. "We are honored to host humanity's first embassy." "Thank you, Ambassador Zixtera," Helen replied with a diplomatic smile. "We're excited to begin this new chapter in galactic relations." As they walked through the embassy's main hall, Helen noticed how the alien staff members reacted to her animal companions. Some seemed nervous, others appeared fascinated, and a few looked like they wanted to ask questions, but weren't sure if it was appropriate. The embassy had been designed specifically to accommodate both humans and their animals. There were comfortable resting areas for the pets, specialized food storage, and even small play areas where the animals could exercise. Every detail had been planned to show that the human-animal partnership was a permanent part of Earth's diplomatic presence. During the first week, word spread quickly through the galactic community about the unusual human embassy. Representatives from various species began requesting meetings, not for official business, but simply to observe the human-animal interactions they had heard so much about. The Crystalline Collective sent a delegation of scientists who wanted to study how emotional bonds could form between different species. Dr. Veltrin, their lead researcher, spent hours watching Max interact with human visitors. Fascinating, Dr. Veltrin noted, while Max demonstrated his ability to sense when someone was sad. The creature shows genuine concern for emotional distress in beings that are not even his own species. The Aquatic Federation was particularly interested in Captain Whiskers. On their water world, they had small fish that cleaned parasites from larger sea creatures. But they had never seen a relationship based purely on companionship. "Your feline companion serves no practical purpose," observed Admiral Tidesinger through her water-filled breathing apparatus, "yet you clearly value her presence highly." Helen scratched behind Captain Whisker's ears, causing the cat to purr louder. "Sometimes the most important relationships don't have practical purposes. Captain Whiskers makes me happy, and I think I make her happy too. That's reason enough." The most interesting visitors were delegations from species that had their own companion animals. The furry traders of Arcturus brought small, rabbit-like creatures that they kept for emotional comfort. The tree dwellers of Verdania had tiny flying creatures that helped them navigate their forest world. However, all of these relationships involved small, harmless animals. No other species had ever formed bonds with creatures that could potentially be dangerous. This difference became obvious during the embassy's first major event, an interspecies cultural exchange where each delegation brought examples of their homeworld's art, food, and customs. The Veltar brought crystalline sculptures that sang when touched by light. The Corvani displayed weapons and armor that told the stories of their warrior culture. The tree dwellers showed living art made from carefully shaped plants. The humans brought something completely different. Dr. Patricia Wong, a marine biologist, arrived with a special guest that made the entire gathering hold its breath. "I'd like you to meet Einstein," Patricia announced as she opened a specially designed aquatic habitat. Out swam an octopus with intelligent eyes and gracefully moving tentacles. Einstein was bright orange with white spots, and his skin shifted colors as he explored his new surroundings. He had been trained to interact safely with humans and was known for his problem-solving abilities. The alien delegates watched in amazement as Patricia extended her hand into the water. Einstein immediately swam over and wrapped one tentacle gently around her finger in what was clearly a greeting gesture. "Einstein is highly intelligent," Patricia explained. "He can solve puzzles, recognize different people, and even shows what we believe are individual preferences and moods." Dr. Clicks, who had become something of an expert on human-animal relationships, studied Einstein with all 6 eyes. "Your database entries for cephalopods list them as master predators with powerful beaks and crushing strength. Einstein could definitely hurt me if he wanted to," Patricia agreed. "But he chooses not to. We've been partners for 3 years now, and he's never shown any aggression toward humans." To demonstrate, Patricia placed a complex puzzle toy in Einstein's habitat. The octopus immediately began manipulating the various pieces with his tentacles, working to unlock the treat hidden inside. When he succeeded, Einstein seemed to show off his prize to the watching audience before eating it. "He's proud of his accomplishment," Patricia observed, "and he wants to share his success with us." The cultural exchange continued for several days, with each species learning about the others. But the humans quickly became the center of attention because of their unique relationships with dangerous creatures. News of these demonstrations spread throughout the galaxy, leading to an unexpected development. Other species began requesting human-style companion animals. Without understanding that the relationships had taken thousands of years to develop, the results were predictably disastrous. The Veltar attempted to domesticate their planet's equivalent of wolves, 6-legged crystal bears that could slice through metal with their claws. The experiment ended when the bears escaped and caused significant property damage before being recaptured. The Corvani tried to form bonds with their worlds. Apex predators, massive reptilian creatures called storm hunters. The warriors assumed they could dominate the creatures through superior fighting skills. 3. Corvani ended up in medical facilities before the project was abandoned. Only the tree dwellers had any success, and that was because they chose to work with creatures that were already relatively gentle and small. Helen found herself in the unusual position of having to explain why other species couldn't simply copy human methods. The relationships you see today are the result of thousands of years of gradual development. She told a gathering of frustrated alien diplomats. Our ancestors started with the friendliest wild animals and worked for hundreds of generations to develop trust. Dr. Zexter of the Scientific Consortium was particularly puzzled. But surely the process could be accelerated with modern technology and behavioral modification techniques. You're missing the most important element, Helen replied gently. Love cannot be programmed or forced. It has to grow naturally between individuals who choose to trust each other. The breakthrough in galactic understanding came during the embassy's most ambitious event. Yet, the first interspecies pet show, hosted on a large space station, where representatives from dozens of worlds could attend safely. Helen had worked for months to organize the event, bringing together humans and their animal companions from across the galaxy. The goal was to show the diversity of human-animal relationships and help other species understand that these bonds were based on mutual choice and affection. Dr. Amanda Clark arrived with Buddy, the German shepherd whose appearance had started the whole diplomatic crisis. 6 months of galactic fame had not changed Buddy at all. He was still the same friendly, tail-wagging dog who just wanted to make everyone happy. Dr. Ben Parker brought his family, including 5-year-old Lucy and her beloved python Noodles. The sight of the small child casually handling the large snake still amazed alien observers, but they were beginning to understand that it represented trust rather than domination. The pet show featured dozens of human-animal teams. There were therapy dogs who worked in hospitals, search and rescue animals who found lost people, service animals who helped humans with disabilities, and simple family pets who provided companionship. Each demonstration showed the same theme: humans and animals choosing to work together and care for each other. The judges for the competition were Amanda and Ben, along with representatives from several alien species who had become students of human-animal relationships. The award categories were designed to educate rather than compete. Most unusual human-animal bond went to Dr. Rachel Kim and her pet, Octopus Einstein, who had learned to paint abstract art using watercolors. Best demonstration of mutual care was won by elderly Mrs. Patterson and her Great Dane, Thor, who had been trained to detect when his owner was having health problems and alert medical services. Most inspiring partnership went to young Danny Santos and his therapy rabbit Snowball, who visited children's hospitals together to provide comfort to sick kids. But the most important moment came during the closing ceremony, as Helen gave her final speech about friendship across species lines. Something unexpected happened. Bonnie and Clyde, the embassy cockatiels, flew over to Ambassador Zixtera and landed on her crystal shoulders. The birds had never done this before. They seemed drawn to the musical sounds that Zixtera's body made when she was happy. The crystal ambassador stood very still, amazed by the trust these small creatures were showing her. The birds preened their feathers and chirped contentedly, apparently enjoying the crystalline music. "They like you," Helen observed with a smile. "But I am not human," Zixtera replied in wonder. "How do they know I will not harm them?" "Maybe friendship isn't just a human gift," Helen suggested. "Maybe it's something any species can learn if they're willing to try." As the pet show ended and the various delegations prepared to return to their homeworlds, the galaxy had gained a new understanding of humanity. Humans weren't dangerous predators who dominated other species through fear. They were bridge builders who saw the potential for friendship in every living creature. The final outcome was the establishment of the Terran School of Interspecies Relations, a research facility where alien species could come to study the art of forming emotional bonds with other creatures. Students came from across the galaxy to learn what humans had discovered thousands of years ago, that love and trust could overcome almost any barrier. Helen stood on the embassy balcony, watching ships from dozens of worlds arrive and depart from Corvani Prime. Max sat beside her, his tail wagging as he watched the busy spaceport. Captain Whiskers was curled up in her lap, purring contentedly. Bonnie and Clyde perched on the balcony railing, chattering to each other in their musical bird language. "What do you think, team?" Helen asked her companions, ready to show the galaxy what friendship really means. Max barked once in agreement. Captain Whiskers purred louder. Bonnie and Clyde launched into what sounded like a victory song. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what Helen had hoped for. Humans had joined the galactic community, not as conquerors or warriors, but as teachers of the most powerful force in the universe, the simple desire to be friends. And throughout the galaxy, on worlds where beings had never imagined forming bonds with other species, small experiments in friendship began to bloom. The humans had shown the way. But now it was up to each species to discover their own path to connection and love. The adventure was just beginning.